Okay, Li Xingjiao, you have managed to find. There's several things you were working on, and I think you got. Did you get your hands on the heirloom that Bao was looking for last time, or I think you had. Okay. Yeah, so I think at this point you've essentially found out where it's going to be and the people who are going to be bringing it in. As I recall, you actually got some people who were looking for it off the trail. Okay, so essentially it's safer now for Bao to go and try to get it, depending on if you acquire it sort of legally or not. The Black Lotus spies have been set off the trail. I can't remember if you beat the shit out of them. Mm. Yeah, so it's essentially got them so hopelessly in the wrong direction that they're in a pretty good spot. But Li Xingjiao, you have found someone who looks remarkably like the Emperor, Qi Shining. Shining. I put it in the text chat. Looks like Shining's probably not pronounced that way. Okay. Okay, so you have Qi Shining has been someone who looks when you see him in person, it is a bit shocking how much like the Emperor he looks. So you are possibly in a pretty good position as long as you're willing to sort of sacrifice this kid. Li Shining is about 14, which is the age of the current Emperor. He is from a relatively small family. They're workers. Both of them have fairly menial jobs, and he himself works to help the family. You end up tracking him down and seeing him while he is out in the field one day, and he's pretty much a perfect match. So what do you do? Okay. He kind of looks at you for a moment and returns to Bao a little confused. He's at this point he sort of smiles and stands up a little bit taller, and it's like many people have said that they think that I've been blessed to look much like the young Emperor, though I am of course nowhere near his level in any fashion. At that point, he sort of looks around and it drops his voice. Emperor for a day. That's impossible. I'm a farmer. At this point, his eyes. At this point, his eyes go incredibly wide. Do you make inspire probably be the skill that fits this most? Okay, I'd go ahead and make an inspire roll. Yeah. Thunk. All right, so he's gonna die. Why are we being coy about it? Okay, and do you have inspire? Okay. Okay. Um, I'm. You're literally one below memorable. I'll give it to you in this case. Though he's still a little unsure of what to do in this case. But part of it just you've just got an aura around you that is sort of powerful enough to help make people listen who might not otherwise listen. He's like, but replacing the emperor would be. I mean, the emperor is a god. That'd be a blasphemy. You haven't lost him though. You can kind of tell. While he's interested, he's clearly afraid, and he's intrigued, and also perhaps a little taken by you. You have an exoticness to you with your weird water shit. Oh, okay. And kind of nods his head. And is this I'm not sure who I should my parents know? And he kind of thinks for a moment. You see him kind of. What is happening with the real emperor? And at that point, his eyes kind of light up a little bit. Oh, this is the Emperor in danger? And sort of eyes wide, he kind of looks around a little bit. And there are a number of very popular stories where essentially the young emperor um, is replaced in times in the past, and people have grown to become these very, very powerful and well-known heroes, essentially, through it. And like as you're mentioning, you kind of see his eyes light up at the idea of it. You're pretty sure you've got him. You've got him on the hook. Certainly. And he kind of halts a little bit from that because that is one of the things that you're not supposed to do. But he goes along with you as partly the mystique of being a member of the Wulin helps push things along, particularly with someone this young and impressionable. So where are you taking? Okay. Bao is a little bit ahead of schedule. He's actually got uh, the Emperor with him when you return to the safe house. And the Emperor sort of takes the kid in another room for a bit, and not only gives him his clothes, but you kind of hear him being drilled about just how to be the Emperor. And then the Emperor, Red Blossom, comes out into the room that you're all in and kind of looks at you for a moment. They're going to kill him, aren't they? He kind of rolls it over in his head a moment, and then looks back. I suppose if the coup happened and I actually was killed, many people would die. And they're going to die anyway. And then he nods. He'll at least have a taste of being the Emperor before it happens. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you can be there. What do you think, Sugong Lee? What do you think, Sugong Lee? I don't like her. She's mean to me. Yeah. Yeah. You're not. You little bastard. What? The farmer's gonna die. Night 1999. Well, those sort of help. Do you get murdered, or do you want to do this? I'll get murdered. Okay. So you get him. You. True. You are doing. No, you've not eaten the small child. There are some from his training. Mm-hmm. Okay. What is that? And he just nods his head and yes, yes. Oh, will it hurt? Or he kind of swallows and shakes his head. Make a finesse roll. Now, luckily, because he's the emperor, and most people, if they're training him, hold back some. He doesn't have much as far as scars go. He's got a few here and there. His father was actually the one most able to like inflict actual damage when training him. Okay, take a little bit of time. You kind of know some methods on how to make something that looks like it's a long scar. Yeah, and go through and start showing that. And then a little bit later, you guys come out and he's wiped the tears off of his face. Red Blossom takes him by the arm and looks at him. You're doing a great good for all of the land of the gods. And the kid nods and looks over at you guys. Okay, who's sneaking him in? Okay, and I would say this: if you use like 3 points of chi, which will be brought back almost immediately, um, you can basically make a plus 15 Lightfoot on stealth. No, you could add an extra plus 15 on it. Essentially, you can, yeah. So that's one of the things you can do, and sometimes you can actually turn a internal martial arts essentially into a sort of like a shaping role. I can't remember the actual name of it, but you can turn it into something that helps. Okay. I will roll for the standard guards. All right. Well, they had a 20. That made it a 30, which means you're way the hell above where they're at. Um, yeah. So you essentially with the kid pick him up like he's just a sack of flour, and head up over the walls, and then up across the roof, and then you find one of the bed chambers of the emperor and sort of deposit him there. Um, do me a favor. Make a. You can put those two fives in your river if you want. Um, Go ahead and make a. It's not awareness. I'm trying to remember what the actual. Let me double check what the skills would be. Yeah, awareness. Yeah, make an awareness roll. Okay. All right. While you're on your way back, you actually see coming through one of the courtyard. Just in case you were going to end up forgetting her, this is basically your double check to make sure you don't. You see the Dowager Empress coming in with some of her people, being led in by some armed guards. to speak to one of the eunuchs. And she's, I'm here to see my son. And essentially, as the two of them start to argue, the eunuch, which is the head eunuch that you guys were looking for, I'm trying to remember his name, is on one of these. Yeah, Zhao Yu. Reminds her that that's not her actual son, and you hear as the conversation, she's looking for access to him, and he is shutting her off, essentially telling her that the young emperor is tired after a busy day and has no wish to see her. That he will let him know she may come back tomorrow and find out. And essentially, like, she tries to pull as many things as she can to essentially get some access, and he, with a tremendous amount of skill in as a courtier, ends up shutting her down each time, and then she ends up storming out, followed by both the guards and her her personal entourage. Have you told her any of this? Okay. There's just some shit. Some motherfucking shit. Huh? All right. All right. Okay, so then you easily go back over the walls and make your way to where you're going, or back to the safe house. Okay, you guys make your way through to basically, because your ship is outside of the harbor, if I recall. Okay, or meet you later. Okay. In a separate thing with Bao Zue, we'll assume that he probably went to go do that. Okay, your ship, you sent it out of the harbor, because right now, as I remember, basically all the ships have been sent out of the harbor. Was there a blockade? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so one of those things. So you basically have to make your way to your ship, and you like your sister knows a lot more about the city than you do. I don't know if you're going with her or you're just trying to rush out underneath the radar. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay, so how are you guys leaving? How did you run across the water? You must run very, very fast. Mm-hmm. I did look up. I think they said to. I did look up once. I don't remember how much it was, but it was for something on the play that I'm doing, or that I've been writing. Like how quickly someone would have to be able to run to effectively be invisible. Like it's I can't remember how many miles per hour it was, but it was like a couple hundred miles an hour. Where essentially, I mean, basically, if you're able to run at Mach 1, you're essentially invisible because you would be in and out of someone's sight before they'd even be able to see you. It's, that's one of those. Hey, yeah. Well, that's one of the things. Like I love the Flash, but I'm always amazed if he ever gets hit by anything ever. Like it would have to be him standing still and be surprised like a motherfucker. But he should be like if he's aware of something, no one should ever be able to touch him. What system are you using? Freeform? Okay. Oh, if you ever like with Champions was one where if you have a speedster, that if you give them a high enough speed, they're essentially attacking every single segment where someone else might only do it like once or twice a turn, and you're doing it 12 times a turn. Those were the games that took like you get through 2 rounds of combat, and of course that was when we had like 7 or 8 people playing. That was a long time ago. Yes, it is. For the most part, it runs fairly smoothly. Character creation takes forever, but if you have a bunch of people or if you've got a speedster, that shit can take a while. So, Mutants and Masterminds, I mess with a little bit. It is essentially Champions Junior. It's got a little more simple because it's got the D20 stuff. Character creation is essentially the same thing but made much, much simpler. It doesn't have quite as much there. I'm not a big fan of the D20 system. And I don't remember a lot about it from there, but I'm like superhero games, there's Marvel Face Rip, there's 3d6. Or maybe, yeah, or 2d6. I think it's 3d6. It's been a long time since I've run any kind of heroes. But yeah, one thing I like about D20 is the fact that like a modifier doesn't mean a whole lot when you have a 5% chance of getting any number. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of superhero games I think work better than those. Though we played Champions a lot back in the day. Yeah, Marvel Face Rip, however, was our big superhero game for a very long time. It's a fun, fast game. All right. So, are you taking them across the water, or are you running to the water, getting the ship, and then going to a rendezvous place? And he sort of nods and, all right, everyone make your footwork roll. Oh, go him. Oh, that's true. Uh, your footwork bonus is a +5. Plus, you particularly you have a thing that specifically lets you run across water, right? Okay. Yeah, I thought you had something specific, even more specifically about that than running over the water, but because remember we use it pretty early. Okay. He's sort of shockingly good at it. 39, 49 is a total of 59 using his chi. He's putting a bit more effort than you guys are, and but he's actually managing to essentially skip across the water as he's going. So it's night. You guys are running across part of the bay, out towards the sort of the two places where the mountains sort of come together for as the break that leads into it. And then once you're out there, kind of you all basically take a hard left and start making your way to the, what would that probably be, north, southwest, east, from where Thrashing Minister is. And let me pop us all here. And up, like, then finally leaping up into the ship itself. There's only a couple times where he falters a little bit and starts to almost sink a bit before he sort of catches himself and is running up again. And he's just, there is a certain amount of joy that you end up losing once you've been in the Wulin long enough. He's been trained in a lot of respects, but has never been able to sort of cut loose the way he's been able to now. You get a feeling he's never had tests where if you fuck up, you truly fuck up. Because there were always sort of people there to make sure he didn't fuck up that much because he's the Emperor. And you don't let the Emperor fuck up too badly. But yeah, there is sort of there's an exhilaration coming from him as you then leap up onto, what is your ship's name, by the way? I'm trying to remember. Onto the Celestial Dawn. And as you kind of come up and see a number of your, you're actually, let me make a quick roll real quick. You are actually impressed with how quickly the sailors on the deck, as you leap up onto it, have gotten back into defensive position, called for Blowfish, and Blowfish has leaped up into the rigging with his weapons ready to go before they realize who it is that's shown up. And finally, he's like, "God damn it!" and then slides down the rigging and lands in a crouch in front of you that then turns into a bow. Captain, I was hoping you weren't going to be coming back. I kind of like running the ship. Another one. He kind of pats the side of it. This is the one that I love. I figure things you do, you'll be dead at some point. I'll be able to take it then. So you... Hey, we're good pirates. We plan on living. And looks over and it's like, bows to Li Xingjiao. He goes, you brought a boy? And Red Blossom sort of looks at you two. And you see, there's a moment in his eye where he just sort of turns and I'm Red Blossom, and doesn't do like where he probably should, bow a little bit or show some respect to the acting captain until you showed up on the ship, but he is not used to ever having to do that. Yeah, you just see a moment where there's going to be like, fuck you, kid, I'm second in command, I don't know what the fuck you are. But yeah, there is a moment when you kind of let him. No, I was almost hoping someone was going to slap him in the back of the head or something. We would see what happened from there. And then. Mm-hmm. You reach over and like move him, and there's a moment where he starts to fight you for a second, but then relents, and then when he gets back up, he gives you a look for a second. That's a stink eye from a bit. Then it fades for a moment. Like you can tell the kid is trying, but this is definitely not what he's used to. Yeah! Oh, I thought you put him on the ballista. What was the wait? What was the movie that did that essentially? Something where a kid got thrown back in through a window and landed before the parents came in. Oh, Young Frankenstein. All right. Well, yeah. So you're outside. You're here basically. Oh, well, actually, you don't have to be that far out. We'll say you're probably here because you're out. I'm assuming you're outside of the harbor because you've got some ships that are doing it. You're in one of the places you can hide. Yeah. Do you want us to head out while you get some rest, or wait until morning? Why don't we just say that he's come with you? He took care of the stuff while you're taking care of other things. Okay. All right. Listen up, maggots. And then he starts going through uh, yelling at the rest of the crew as he gets everything uh, in order and gets the ship under sail. And Red Blossom sort of looks at you with sort of kind of big eyes, like imagining you're probably talking about killing people, and that seems a little strange to him. Yep. His smile gets kind of big. I've been trained for many years. It's good to cut loose. And at that, he just stands up a little bit straighter. I'm looking forward to it. So, what's next? Where? You've been away a couple weeks. Yeah, yeah. Permission might not be the quite the right word. Okay. Or are you heading towards a certain place, or just out to sea? Mm-hmm. Now, things. I mean, no picturesque things are okay, and I mean, except at this point, the the people who are in charge, like the actual higher ups in the Black Lotus Society, are back. Which, so I mean, so are the higher ups of the Resplendent Phoenix Society. You've caused a lot of damage while you've been gone. There's probably been a lot of punishment handed out. However, there's definitely people who are going to be looking for you, and they're going to be a little harder to beat than who you ended up fighting. Ah! And then they get their way towards it, and then you hear, like, pirate shanties or whatever being sung as everyone heads out into the sea. Yep, hands it over to you, and at that point, it goes down there to essentially yell at the people who aren't working as hard as he wants them to, and get them going. And as you're sort of watching, Red Blossom comes up next to you and is. So this is what it's like to be the captain of a ship. Where are we going? Southern Dragon Pirate Headquarters? He's excited. I mean, the idea of pirates and everything else. My what? And he kind of grabs his long locks and surely there's other ways than cutting my hair. All right. And he smiles and I'll look a little bit proud, and then gives there's a moment where he just sort of looks at you and then eyes sort of go left and right for a second, and then, oh yeah, I should probably bow. And he bows to a level that would probably be insulting if it was a normal person before coming back up. Hmm? Oh. And then, certainly, I look forward to learning, I mean, the huge amount I have to learn. And sort of bows and then heads towards his room on the ship. Does he have a room by himself, or is he holed up someplace? Yeah, they should. Okay. So there's one point when the two of you are having lunch where Blowfish knocks on the door. Captain, Li Xingjiao, and removes his hat. Takes a moment and sits down. By the way, did I tell you about the pirate in real life that like pulled over a ship just to steal their hats? It's one of the things we did for the pirate QI. We did for improv one time, and he was like, "You're your boy." Well, it's very clear you're looking out for the kid. He's been taking liberties with his mouth when it comes to the crew. Ordering them around. Now, they're not quite sure how to treat this kid, but I've had a few of them talk to me because the seems pretty free in how easy it is for him to order people around, and that's you brought him with you. We haven't talked much about him, but that sounds about right for ordering someone around that's outside of emergency situations. You tell him to get him food or to wash his clothing. Which way sort of laughs because for the most part you don't get a lot of that while you're out. Okay. Okay, you bring in Red Blossom and he comes in and immediately takes a seat. He starts to say something and then and you see him think over it more, what the things his father had told him, and the difficulties he told me about. I'm assuming would probably not count as bad times in the way which you mean. And then he sort of stops for a moment, and then nods. You are correct. And for a moment, he looks like a scared schoolboy, which is not something you think he's ever been. Treat them all like they're my father. He sort of nods and looks down and says, "This is outside of my father and very few others. I was always the emperor to be." So what does this mean? And his eyes go a bit wide. There, this is. And when will this happen? Okay. We cut to the lashes. Who's giving the lashes? Probably Blowfish. All right. Okay. I'm gonna make a roll for him to sort of, because it's gonna be he's, you can tell he's trying, but he's also fighting against who he's always been, which is tough. Oh no. This might not go well for him. So as the first one lands, give me just a second. What internal style makes sense for the Emperor? No, unfortunately. Okay. He's sitting there, you see him sort of bracing himself, and as the first one hits him, he just turns and then, like, almost without reaction, like using Fire Sutra, he turns and a gout of flame goes from his hands and strikes down Blowfish onto his back. And there's a moment where he just sits there and there's the flame around his hands, and then he kind of dwindles for a second, and his eyes get sort of wide when he realizes what he's done. Okay. He didn't roll a single pair. Poor bastard. Is he sort of looks your way? Okay. But he also has a 38, but I'm going to say that he's just been distracted by these sort of 35, and gives him a ripple, and he kind of goes down from the whip, and just there's a moment he sort of gets up, and you see the flames appear again, almost by reaction, and then he holds it for a second, and then his fists touch the deck, and the flames go out. Again. Yep. And he just goes, again. Okay. And just as it finishes, I'm gonna. Yeah, it's okay. As he kind of goes up and his back is bleeding, and he goes up to Blowfish and then bows and. I'm sorry, I'm not used to being struck without fighting back. Blowfish kind of leans down a little bit, looks him straight in the eye, and is like, "Well, you better fucking get used to it if you keep up with this shit." And then the Red Blossom sort of stands and then kind of droops back a little bit, like he can, where he can sort of be upright without it hurting too much. And I'm assuming you have the doctor take a look at him, make sure he's okay. Yeah, well, but you put poison on it. Yeah, no, I'm saying when you use it for poison shit, it's not like the poison's on it normally. Yeah, yeah. This one I've done some awful shit with this, and you see him as he's heading back. There's he's shaking with the pain and the anger, and he's keeping himself in check, but it is not easy for him. I think so. He makes it to your quarters. Stops and he sees you see him for a moment and then puts his hands together and then gives you more of a correct bow as much as he can with the pain in his back. Every captain is an emperor upon the deck of their ship. This lesson is one that I will take and keep. As okay, he goes up and sees the doctor, who treats his back and then sets him off to his room. I'm gonna send him an IM real quick. Ah, okay. I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick. We need to tell Lloyd what happened. Let me get the. Oh, well, one of you guys should. We got two people on their phone. Give me just a second. I gotta get some more water and take a piss real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah. And then when he was getting whipped, I made a roll to see if he could keep his shit together, and he didn't. I did not roll a single pair. So yeah, he basically he fire sutured Blowfish before. I figured it was a fun one to give him, considering y'all are the Southern Dragon Pirates. You got a lot of water. Well, which that takes us back a little bit. Did you were you going to get your heirloom before you left? No, we well that's what I would say. Are you buying it or stealing it? Okay. Okay. Um, do me a so we actually had. I mean, the last game. One of the things that Li Xing Zhao did was to get the Black Lotus Society off of the trail, which meant when it came up to auction, which you were able to do the day you left, um, it came up to auction, and you were able to show up where there was a number of things being sold in the Phoenix market, and this. As I recall, it was the Staff of the Nine Winds. Almost more of a curiosity than anything else. And it's there is a little bit of fame with your fathers, with those your fathers and your grandfathers. Okay, so yeah, it was known a little bit by some as being someone who's sort of a hand sympathizer. There's some who were looking for it mostly for curiosity's sake. Go ahead and make an influence roll. Oh, you should have seen Eric just rolled his new. Are you? You're not rank 3 yet. Okay. Surprised your entanglement's not higher. Well, usually everyone's gotten them each time from someone. But okay, so you got a little. You're almost there, but you have a little bit to go. Yep, we'll say inspire. Okay, um, you're there, and I'll just make a 25. Yeah, not quite. There's someone else who's bidding, whose thing goes up a couple times as you're looking for it, but as you start to push it a little bit further with the money you've got, I'm assuming this money is from. I mean, you've got some. Is some come from Sun Yan Li? Okay. Okay, so yeah, it goes up a couple times, and push you push yourself. You manage to push it until it is finally awarded to you, and it is then brought to you. And there's a moment where you've not seen this staff in many years. They put it in your hands. You can almost feel your father's hand in yours as the Are we? Were you the one there by, or through? Was someone else doing it for you? Oh, the handsome. Okay. So you feel his father's hand. This is the only time you only ever feel it the first time it's handed over. Then the magic is wasted. Mm-hmm. That is one thing I say is that like nobody tells the Southern Dragon Pirates who they marry. That is one of the nice things about being y'all. Is it is fairly egalitarian. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was saying for the most part, your daughter has. I'm sorry, your father has definitely raised all of his daughters to take shit from nobody. So yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. I'm going to my bunk. Yep, it is. It is one of the royal seals from the Han Dynasty, the one that your father worked so closely with. Like what you have in the power you sort of have right now in your hands is sort of staggering to think that on this empires rise and fall. Are you polishing your staff when he comes in? Mm-hmm. Okay. He kind of looks down, and then at this point, would this have been earlier in the voyage, or would this have been a little bit later? Okay. Yeah. At this point, he's just come from being whipped from, uh, well, from telling people off, and then from reflexively attacking Blowfish. He comes in and like his back's been bandaged up, but he's moving a little bit slowly, and kind of looks over and then sees it sitting on the bed. That's an Imperial seal, and he immediately sort of goes to it. And if you don't stop him, his hand is almost on it, and he sort of pulls it back. This is from the Han Dynasty. He kind of nods for a moment and sits. Your family were part of the Han? My father never woke me like that. Sunyo Lee, Captain Sunyo Lee, has suggested I come to you for lessons in being more humble. Well, I got what I deserved. And while I don't think you are perhaps the person to teach me how to be humble, I think you're perhaps the person to teach me how to pretend to be humble. And through the pain, you see a little bit of smile appear on his face from that. Did you say facade? Is that an English pronunciation, or is that just No, I'll say that. No, I'll say this because it's funny because I had one of our guys in our improv troupe was from Scotland, and there was a couple of times where he would like hokey pokey is the herky jerky. I think is it the herky jerky for you? No, my favorite. Do you have you ever heard the? I'm going to type in a phrase and let me know if you've ever heard it before. Let me make sure I got it spelled correctly. Tell me how you would say that. Just how would you say that? The whole thing. Nobody, the whole thing. I don't know. Have you ever seen that whole thing before? Okay, so I will say because if Eric and Tim say it, they'll say the exact same thing. How is that phrase pronounced? How do you that phrase? How does that phrase? How are you supposed to say that phrase in English? No, the whole phrase. You've seen the commercial, right? But you've never seen the commercial? Tim, you know how that's pronounced? That whole phrase is supposed to be said? God, wait, where are you? Wait, Eric, where have you lived? Is that not out in California? That commercial. Okay, no. Here's it. It's from a commercial that like baloney commercial. Oh, you've never seen that commercial? That commercial was constant when I was a kid. We had in our improv show at one point, and it's funny because the bar that we perform in is being sold in May, and one of the things when there was a couple newspaper articles about it, and one of the things they asked him what things he'd miss, and he brought up a number of things, and one of them was an Abe Froman show, where he said, "Baloney's how it's pronounced," but our guy from Scotland, the guy we used to have from Scotland, we're doing a thing where the audience wrote down phrases and we would say them as part of our lines during the scene. And he just looked down and he just goes, "My boogaloo has a first name, it's Oscar." And like, we lost our shit. It stopped the scene because we could not stop laughing, and just because the thing is, for all of us, it's "My baloney has a first name, it's Oscar," because that's been like since we were a kid. That commercial was constant. So just my book. No, we're like a year apart. No, he and I are a year apart. So this was one where it was just, or maybe 2 years apart. This is one where like he just never seen it before. Like how old, Tim? How old are you? Okay, yeah, basically, yeah. Tim is the same age as Martin, but it was one of those. It was one of those things where it just like we completely lost our shit, and it stopped the show. The other one was Lloyd. Do you know what a cotton gin is? Tim and Eric, you guys know what a cotton gin was? So we got cotton. Yeah, and it's one of the things that was supposed to be there to actually help stop slavery, but what it essentially meant was they didn't have to have slaves pick. Yeah, they didn't have to pick the seeds out of the cotton anymore. They could have more people picking cotton. But we got cotton gin as a suggestion, and one of our guys who's black started setting up this big machine, like he's miming this big machine he's making, and Martin has no idea what it is, so he just goes and takes a shot off of it, thinking there's just like a shot glass of gin on the end of it, and again, completely lost our shit. Like, stopped the show, cultural differences that he just didn't get. It was fucking hilarious. Though I will say, that motherfucker used his accent to get laid when I'm like, he's a redneck. We're going to be professional wrestling in the living room in the next couple hours. He's a redneck. He's not sexy because he's from Scotland. All right, so that's being an American. All right. Well, I'll say I am shocked beyond belief that I guess it's a Midwest thing because I'm shocked Eric doesn't know it. I thought it was just an American thing at least. Well, how old are you? Oh, true. Shit. Yeah, maybe. You probably should have what? Maybe, but Jesse's not here. Okay. Now I'm wondering. I've got to know this. Okay, I just said a thing for a friend of mine. I'll hear back in a little bit. No, I sent something to someone who I think is around Eric's age, to see if she's familiar with it. Um, yeah, I think she's roughly that old. I don't know exactly. Anyway, no. Here's the thing. Here's I am not one of the people that gets freaked out over finding out like things that are old because I teach high school. Which everyone's like, oh my, God, I feel so old. Do you ever feel old when you find that out? I'm like, I'm around 15 to 18-year-olds every day. Like, I know how quickly shit disappears. High school students right now, most of them have never seen The Matrix. Most of them have not seen the original Star Wars series. Like, the amount of stuff that they don't know is, compared to what I did, is fucking huge. So, that it happens quick. About 4 years ago, everyone had seen The Matrix. Now, almost none of them. All right, so the rest of the ship, unless someone does something they're doing, passes fairly uneventfully. Red Blossom is doing his best to not fuck up, essentially, and you make your way back to World's End. So you go in through the gates, in which the place where essentially no one who is not either pirate or very very pirate friendly ever gets, and you find yourself inside the gigantic cave that is the bay for World's End. And you, I mean, granted, you guys left pretty quick. There's a shit ton of news that has not reached back there yet, and you are bringing a lot of it with you. What do y'all do? That, if it weren't someone who's from here, maybe difficult, but you guys are so used to it that it's second nature by now. All right, they get the pay from Blowfish, and then rush their way into deeper into World's End. Not too long, you see your mother and father have met you. They're waiting for you outside of the dock where you've stopped. Greetings. We have they accept your bows because we've many things to tell you about what we saw at our meeting. However, I'm sure you've heard some of it so far. Bazoué, Irida. And Red Blossom kind of looks at both of them for a second, and there's a second where you see a spark of recognition in his eye, and then as he sort of bows, you see your father is like, looks at for a moment and is, hmm, Red Blossom. So, he kind of looks at Red Blossom again for half a second before dismissing whatever it is he thought he saw. What news? Yeah, they're familiar with Bazue. He's been traveling with you for a while. Certainly. And they bring you back to a more private place. They sit and they're like, so? Want who here? Do you send them elsewhere? He kind of nods and goes in to take a rest. And then all of you are with your parents. So, what is this thing that could only be discussed privately? You ain't gonna get. See, only I'm aware of bullshit when I hear it. What have you done? We've heard about this. You stopped it. He takes a moment. He goes, first of all, I will decide what leaves this room. Second of all, you will stop speaking in riddles and speak plainly. He takes a moment where he's just staring from him. He just sits. The Emperor of the Emperor. You have brought the Emperor here as a young member of the Wulin. And then he stands for a moment and he kind of looks over all of you. And what else had you done? I would get more towards the stuff that has to do with the Emperor. So, you have taken the Emperor. I'm assuming whipped him from how you're speaking. And he is now here. He stands up in a moment and just goes, I will call for you later. And then just walks out of the room. He's your mother is just sort of a little open mouth, but is sort of looking and just not entirely sure what to say as of yet. Please don't blame me. Please don't blame me. Please don't blame me. Please. Oh, thank fuck. She smiles a little bit. She's like, Lee's father and I will be speaking at length, I'm sure, about this. And she stands, and there's a little bit of a smile on her face at this, and she just goes, she comes forward and she kind of grabs Lee by the shoulders and gives you a kiss on the forehead. You've created a great deal of headaches and a great deal of opportunity for all of us. She goes, I suggest enjoying World's End. I will try to talk your father down because we currently have a lot of decisions to make. She looks over all of you. Again, have hospitality of World's End. Okay, and then she kisses you on the forehead and she sort of looks down and then like kind of grabs it and looks at it and not seen this in a long time. And she sort of sets it back in your chest and pats it for a moment. Your sister may have been conceived there. Mom! God! Why? Why? God! It's reverse cowgirl the whole time. And she smiles and gives you a kiss on the cheek. You're always the most hot-headed of us. We'll be with you soon. Okay, give me just a moment. I'll be right back. And then she takes off, and I'm going to grab a drink of water real quick, pee, and I'll be back in a second. I'm back. Oh, Lloyd took off for a bit. Okay. Slap him around a little bit. Okay, what are you guys doing when they kind of let you all go? Cool, cool. Oh, Tim take off too? Okay. Okay, so you take him out drinking? It is pretty quickly you're aware that the wines that they have here is a little more it's stronger than what he might be used to, as far as the wine that they would bring him. And it's not too long before you have him pretty hammered. I'd stop drinking when I feel like stopping drinking. I have no responsibilities. I have nothing I need to do. Right. Then bring me more. Oh, shh. I'm not him. I'm not. I'm. Oh, I am Red Blossom. Mm-hmm. Takes more and just like just downs it pretty fast. He's flying pretty high. Wulin sort of stands, holds up his thing. A toast. He kind of looks over. He looks over at you and goes, "What should a toast be to?" Freedom. Freedom in the sea, and everyone knows because he looks like a boy drinking way too much. So everyone's just sort of laughing at him in the place, and like You see when stuff goes up, and he takes a drink and then sways a bit, and then plops himself down in the chair. Standing is harder than I remember. So where are we going? What's our adventure? Ah, the wind. Let's go out. Conquer the sea. Let's kill some pirate. I mean, oh, that's not what I mean. Yes, other pirates. I'm a pirate now. Red Blossom, pirate of the sea. Oh god. And he just sort of leans forward and starts doing the hot spits. This does not feel good. And you see him like he gets like a bit of a reflexive starts to happen. He's not going to throw up right yet, but it's coming. All right, I'm outside. Like, it just lets it out, and you got a feeling this may be the first time he's ever actually vomited from how much he's had. And he kind of ends. He's like, I go. And just continues to spit. Okay. I should go sleep. I should go sleep. Okay. And then like leaning on you as you take him somewhere else. Oh god. Pirates! Oh god. Uh, You've been grounded. Wait, you mean put him down? Like, have you ever seen Justified? There's a moment where one of the guys tells like an underling, "All right, take care." Basically says like, "Okay, I'll fine, I'll let you go. Take care of him." And turns around, and the guy shoots him in the chest twice. What the fuck are you doing? You said take care of him. Well, I will choose my words more carefully in the future. All right. What happened to the campaign? Every single person ended up on a different ship. Then I was doing 4 different games. Okay. Now you have a medal. Nope, now you go back home. Nope, now Sam is leaving. Sam deserves it. Sam went through some shit. Hey, buddy, of course I'm right, buddy. Mm-hmm. And the door opens up and it just looks bleak as shit. What? Oh, I want to sleep. Okay. And a little bit later, he just sort of stumbles out and just like. Okay. And all the the Bruce Lee Dragon Story main music plays. That was on every fucking trailer for years. The Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. Oh, it was a great film. If you recognize the soundtrack, it said that da 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 da. It was on, yeah, it was on trailers forever. That soundtrack's great. Yep, I've not gone back to it in a long time. But so, how old's your baby brother? Okay, cool, cool. Okay. Yeah, Fire Sutra and what was the other one? They gave him Great Ultimate Dragon. Yeah. Sion Lee, you have Arbor Day. What's Christmas? Most of us are Buddhist. Is it Arbor Day? Is it Arbor Day a worldwide thing? What the fuck is Arbor Day? You know Arbor Day. You know what Arbor Day is? Most Americans don't either. It's a day for tree people. You're supposed to like plant trees and stuff. Right, Arbor Minister, eh? Eh? No, yeah, there isn't. There's no H. A tree person. I don't think it's much of a holiday, but it's there. It exists. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you get that set up. You get news the next day that essentially fighting is broken out in the streets of, and this was several days ago because this is about the time you left. Fighting is broken out in the streets of Thrashing Minister, and you have a number of people who are essentially fighting against loyalist forces, as well as some of the Han Dynasty are supposed to be fighting as well. So you've got some information. They're kind of waiting for more to come in from some of the ships that have come in, but you've not yet seen your father yet, Sunyoli. I've been Northern Dragon. Northern Dragons are cooler. Okay. This. Well, what I'm kind of thinking, I would kind of like the start of next session to be you guys talking with Southern Dragon Emperor and Emperor Stingray, and going from there. So, how do you feel? Does anybody want to give? I'll give 5 destiny each. Do you guys want to give deeds to each other? That is pretty badass. That sort of seems like honor. I would. Yeah, we go with we go with ruthlessness there. Okay. Okay. Yeah. But you are rank 3 now. You roll more dice, and I'm gonna give 5 destiny to everybody. A little bit, especially for Lloyd. I think that sounds right. Like, honor, benevolence, righteousness, loyalty, force, revenge, individualism, obsession, ruthlessness, ferocity. And you guys want to spend entanglement for each other? No, he's been pretty cool about that recently. He spent some on the Emperor already to have the Emperor like a little bit enamored of Sunyali. You can. There might be some stuff with either like stuff that happened from Thrashing Minister or things that might still appear. I don't know if you're heading there again. Oh, sure. People will know a little bit more about what's going on. All right. Anybody else? Okay. At one point. So basically, next session. It's all good. I'm thinking of killing you. What the hell did you say? I did not hear what you said. It was all very fast. All right. Is there anything else, gentlemen? Okay. Well, cool. I'll see you guys next week. Hopefully, Jesse will be able to join us. But we will go from the what has happened after you brought the Emperor back.